Hey everyone, it's Jason. Welcome back to another legendary deck building game. This is for James Bond 007. This is the base game. So this is video part 2. In part 1, in case for some reason you did not check it out, I went over the rules of the game. It's a very long video, but I did it for people that had never checked out legendary games before. You can check it out if you already know legendary from playing Marvel or the Encounters version of Predator, Alien, Firefly, or even the Buffy version of the game, or even the online version as well. You can check out the first couple minutes. I think it's within the first 10 minutes or so. I go over some of the rules, some of the slight changes in the rules, things that they did change. In this video, we're going to go over the first 2 movies because it breaks it down. We're going to go over Goldfinger, and we're going to go over The Man with the Golden Gun. But before we get into those, I do want to just do a quick look at the basic cards. Zoom my camera in a little bit better. Yeah, so we do have some basic cards. So we have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. We have 8 copies of some gadgets. So in this set, gadgets are very blank. These are kind of like the bystanders from the original Marvel games. So I don't know if they're going to do also fit very similar to Marvel is release versions that have special abilities and stuff. I have not looked at any of the expansions that have come out. But it's possibly something they could do. So that'd be kind of neat if they do that in the future. Alright, so yeah, I'm not super familiar with every single thing James Bond, so I won't know who some of these people are. I might mispronounce names. I apologize for that. The gadgets, though, don't list what they are, but I did kind of look up at least names I could find for them. This is the Console DB5. So we have 8 copies of that. We have 8 copies of the Golden Gun accessory. So each one, I think, kind of sort of theme possibly with one of the movies, but not specifically necessarily. Obviously, Golden Gun would be from the Golden Gun. We have 7 copies of the arm scanner. It's definitely looks like it's probably from one of the newer ones. I don't know, it might be from Casino Royale, but it could be from a different movie altogether. And 7 copies of the wire gun. So these are our different gadgets you'll build up. Functionally, they all work the exact same. They have 1 victory point in there. They just wanted to have some different images, which is very nice because I looked at the Marvel base set, which had all the exact same artwork for all the cards everywhere. But yeah, having all the, like, they're just bystanders. They're the exact same artwork for every single bystander. So it was nice when we finally started getting some other sets and versions with different versions of them. We have our 5 Master Strikes, which is a picture. It took me a minute to realize what this was. I thought this was just like a circle and a wadded up ball of paper, and then I realized, oh, it's Oddjob's hat. He has a razor-bladed hat that he throws, cutting off the head of a statue, showing how deadly his hat is. And I'm like, oh, that makes a lot more sense. And then we have 5 Steam Twists, which show a group of villains standing around. And then we have our 30 wound cards. I'm not going to drop all of them. There's a very iconic Shutter scene at the beginning where it shutters and has the blood coming down. Although I don't know which Bond that this must be from. This is from Goldfinger, I believe. One of the first ones because it has the hat. Like the newer ones, I think they got rid of it. So it's kind of neat as well. But they're all the exact same artwork, so they didn't have like one for each different movie either. So those are our basic cards that we went through. So now we're gonna go ahead and jump into our characters. So we're gonna start off with the beginning of Goldfinger. So, of course, Goldfinger. This is Sean Connery, from 1960, who played Bond from 1962 to 1971. So the different years in there. So yeah, he's gonna get 5 cards that go with him. Every single movie set in here has a Bond. So his is all square. He has an instant card. It gives 1 recruit and 1 attack. If you play another instant card before this, give a mission or villain on assignment -2 recruit or attack this turn. Yeah, so it's actually pretty cool, right? So very early on, you can give this, potentially making everything else a little bit cheaper to play. And we're going to get 5 copies of those. So the cards are also broke up into rarities. So just also for people that aren't familiar. So they have commons, uncommons, and then rares. So it's kind of weird to say that because it's like, well, they're all in the deck. They're not like buying booster packs. But I do it to let you know they're how many. So it's always commons. There's generally always 5 copies. Marvel did break this rule by adding some extra different versions later on, but I'm not going to talk about that too much. But they have a full border art. So the yellow is all the way around. We have 5 copies of This Is No Time to Be Rescued. I'm not going to try and do a Sean Connery accent. I'd probably be terrible. So this gives us 2 recruit for a cost of 2. With the top card of the hero deck, you may put it on the bottom. Just kind of gives you a chance to maybe kind of stack what's coming up. You also use it, if I purchase this, I use my 2 recruit from this to purchase a card, I can always kind of maybe see what I'm getting next to replace another card. Or if I know that's a 6 cost card, we can't afford this early on, we can shuffle it back underneath. That's kind of a fun one to have. We have 3 copies of the uncommon, so there's 1 uncommon. And now you can see these don't have a border on the side, so they get rid of part of the border to show they're a little bit different. She's covered in gold paint. So we have 3 attack. It says instinct. You may KO a card in your hand or discard pile. If you do, get +2 attack. This is actually pretty good because, again, you can use to discard wounds. You could discard starter cards later on to boost up your attack. You might even discard a regular card. Maybe, again, one of the earlier ones you bought. They aren't really helping you as much. Maybe you upgraded to a Mrs. Moneypenny and you want to get rid of that as well. Or maybe you just purchase something else that does not, I bought this. I thought I was going for this theme or color, but it doesn't really help me. I bought a tech card and I don't really have any other tech cards in my deck. Maybe you want to get rid of it. Or you just need the extra 2 attack. It might be worth getting rid of something if it helps you finish off the mastermind or helps you finish off a mission. So that's pretty cool. And you can see he's basically 2 different colors. And every set of characters will always be 2 separate colors. And then we have the rare or ultimate, which you can see just has the top and the bottom. A true classic. So 8 cost, it gives you 2 attack. Which in general is very bad. That's not a lot of attack for a cost of 8. But it says gain a hero from the Q branch for free. If it's a vehicle hero, put it into your hand. So this is where it's going to get very interesting because it's a free card no matter what. So it's not going to do a lot for attacking or recruiting generally, but any card. So you can end up getting a 2 or 3 cost card if that's all that's available. You could end up getting another 6, 7, 8 cost card for free. It could be very powerful. Or if it's a vehicle, even if it's a 2 or 3 cost card, a vehicle card could be very helpful to boost up your thing, to boost up your stuff. And this is also very interesting because, again, I'm going to keep comparing this to Marvel, so I apologize, but Marvel generally doesn't have, rarely, I'm not going to say it never does, but it rarely has anything else that they specify a specific character. So there's nothing that says if you have Spider-Man, recruit another Spider-Man card, or if you have, Jean Grey, recruit a Jean Grey card. Sometimes they'll refer to teams, because up in the top corner they might have X-Men or Avengers. They might reference something like that, but it's not very often. But this actually represents any vehicle hero. I think there's 1 set of vehicles in 3 of the different decks. I think one of the movies might not have vehicles because it has an extra ally. Or it doesn't have equipment. I don't remember. But yeah, you could definitely, and then the expansions will probably have more vehicles as well. So it can be utilized with a lot of different teams, which is really cool. Alright, so that's our James Bond. That's our Sean Connery. I don't have the actual names for all the other actors in here. But we're going to look at a secondary character. So almost every set here has a James Bond, a second ally, which is usually the woman or love interest of the movie. Usually an allies, a vehicles, and an equipment. So they kind of have like the same theming for each one. A little tweaks in some of them. But here we have it. You can turn off the charms. This is Pussy Galore. She's a strength hero. To recruit, and it says once be paying other strength, play a strength before this. Once during this turn, you may put a hero you recruit on top of your deck. That's actually pretty good, right? Buy something, it goes right to the top of your deck so you can use it on your next turn. She has 5 copies of the Talented Ally, which is ranged. To recruit as well. You get +2 recruit. It can only be used to recruit Pussy Galore heroes. Not the best, but hey, 4 to be able to automatic to get recruit her will help you get a lot more of her cards. But again, unlike the vehicle with the Bond, she's only going to be in this one set. She doesn't appear in multiple movies that I know of. We have 3 copies of Goldfinger's Personal Pilot. Another strength card, 3 attack. You get +1 each time you play another Pussy Galore hero this turn. So you can see a lot of times here. So lots of these cards end up being like, although anyone can buy it, so all 4 players in a 4-player game can buy Pussy Galore cards. But if one person kind of focuses on it, maybe 2 people, because of how many there are, they're going to be better versus everyone buying 1 card of each. Oh, and then we missed her. Well, missed her rare. So her rare is, or ultimate, is Flying Circus. She has a troop of women with her. Has 7 cost, gives you 5 attack. If you play another green, discard any number of cards from your hand, then draw that many cards. This, again, is one of these abilities. It's kind of cool because it could be very powerful, could be potentially weak. Because if you have a bunch of starter cards in your hand, discard them all, right? Draw that many more. But on the other hand, if you have all fairly decent cards, is it worth discarding a card that does 3 attack for hoping to get a card that does 5 attack? Because you could draw a basic. You don't know. We got that. Yes, it's kind of neat. Also, just worth noting that between these, now we have yellow, red, blue, and green. So between the 4 of them, we have, or between these 2 characters, we have 4 of the colors. So it's kind of cool as well. All right, our next character up are allies. So these are kind of a fun little, I think I really like, and I wish Marvel actually did this more often sometimes, because there's some characters that just don't get a lot of love, or they're not around enough to have a full deck or a full set of cards with a bunch of stuff. So here they just have some allies. So 4 copies of Tilly Masterson, who's our ranged hero. She has a giant gun there. 3 costs for 2 attack. If you play a ranged card, you get an additional attack. You saw she worked nice with Pussy Galore as well. We have 5 copies of Jill Masterson. Instinct, 2 costs for 2 recruit. You may KO a wound in any player's discard pile. So this is a great way for cooperative games, right? You can help out somebody else. Oh, they have bad hand. Like, rather than them sacrificing their turn to get rid of 1 wound or 2 wounds, you could do this and maybe get rid of it after their turn. We have 3 copies of Felix Leader, who's a ranged, who has cost 6, but he has 3 recruit and 0 attack. But if you play a blue card, you get +3 attack. So very good. So a lot more combos in this set, which is really nice. Then our final one is we have 1 copy of Colonel Smithers. Who's another ranged. 7 and for 2 recruit. Again, that combination is not very good. But we have choose any number of players to each draw 2 cards. So yeah, this is a really neat one because, right, you can give yourself 2 cards, which, unlike pussy galores, where one you have to kind of play something else first, and you have to discard cards. Here you're just gaining extra cards. Not, again, they could be starter cards and you end up really bad stuff. They could be good. But you could also even play this and determine, since it's with any players, it makes for that cooperative thing really nice. Because I could be like, hey, I have enough stuff already built up on this turn. I don't really need to draw any more cards. I'm not going to be able to do too much more even if I did. Or you could be like, I have a really crap hand except for this card, so I don't know if I want to bother to draw cards. You could help one of your allies out. Hey, you have a decent hand, let me pump you up, and then maybe on your turn you can do a lot more stuff. So that's a fun mechanic. Awesome. Alright, up next we have equipment for Goldfingers. We have 5 copies of the Homer. I believe for like Homie Beacon. Which is a covert card. So it's 3 cost for 2 attack. If you play a covert, draw a card. Nice little combo there. We have 5 copies of our first tech card, Gold Bar, which is serial number 7190. 3 cost for 2 recruit. If you play a tech card, get an extra recruit. So very simple effects. We have 3 copies of the Duck Snorkel. I like that this one's black and white. I'm not sure why, because every other card is in color except for this one. It's really weird. 5 cost, 3 attack. You may put a card from your discard pile on the bottom of your deck. Great. So you recruited something, you can get it back to your deck, so you might draw. If you only have 3 cards in your deck, now you have a 4th one, you're going to draw it on your next turn. So very helpful there. Then our last one for the equipment is the 007 Seconds. A 7 cost, so it has 0 recruit and 0 attack, which we keep saying, low numbers like that generally aren't good. But it says you may get 7 recruit or 7 attack if you do KO this card. If you play another covert, don't KO this card. So this is kind of a conditional one, right? If you absolutely need that 7 attack and 7 recruit, which 14, that is actually powerful. But it's a one-time effect. Unless you can play another covert card in front of it, then you get to use it again later on. Now, KOing this might say, oh, that seems really bad to have a one-time effect. Generally, in my playthrough of Legendary games, the ultimate cards are these rare cards. By the time you get around to be able to have enough points to purchase them and then get through your deck to use them, I usually use them once, most often, sometimes twice, rarely 3 times. Very, very rarely under only specific circumstances. Maybe I got rid of extra cards in my deck, or I didn't buy a bunch, or I had a bunch of draw card effects, something odd like that, if I ever got to use it more than 3 times in a game. So, yeah, saying have to KO it sounds really terrible, but the fact is you might only get to play it twice anyhow, at most of the time, on average. So I think, like, it's not even that bad. One time to be able to do a bunch of extra stuff, it's probably worth it. Like, versus being like, I have it, but I might get a covert card on my next time I draw it. You might, but you also might not. You know, it might be worth just doing it if there's enough other stuff you can do with them abilities. But again, it might be if this is you only drew this and like 5 other basic cards, it might not be worth playing it. Cool. Then our last one, to go with our bond, we have some vehicles. We have 5 copies of the front wing machine guns. There's like a cone in front of it. So 4 cost for 2 attack. You get plus 2 attack. It can only be used to fight a henchman. This is kind of neat. So it's like very specific on what it can use, but 4 attack would defeat any henchman. So it's basically a free henchman defeater. We have 5 copies of the tire shredders. Good old spy tools there. 4 cost for 2 attack. You may KO a hero in your hand. Optional with the word may. But again, you can use this to get rid of your starter cards, which are very helpful to do. 3 copies of Oil Slick. 6 cost per 3 attack. Give a villain that moved this turn plus or minus 3 attack. Now that's actually kind of interesting because it's specifically one that moves. So that's only, I mean, it's going to happen fairly often, but it also limits on what you can do. But there's also a new keyword in here called chase. So there are vehicles you have to fight against too that actually move a lot more. So we'll just see those. So I'll be better for those. Then finally we have passenger ejector seat. The little red button. These are so epic, like things are just now ingrained into spy movies now. So 5 for 8 cost. So it's actually pretty decent. If you play a tech, you may fight a villain for free this turn. Then you use that 5 for something else. That's pretty nice, right? If you get at least one free extra fight. So that is our Goldfinger cards. So the next thing I want to look at are just some of the basic starter cards we're going to get. We're going to get 1, 2, 3, 4. We have 16 copies of 007 Basic Starter. Now, why do we have 16? Because you are actually going to have only 8 in your deck. But they gave us 16 of the one with Sean Connery, because if there's 4 players, you can have 1 player play as each version of James Bond. Blah, 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 blah. We have, of course, Sean Connery from this one. Roger Moore, Pierce Brosnan, and Daniel Craig. So we have the 4 Bonds from this. Or if you get other Bonds from other sets, we have those guys as well. But if you play a 5th player, you need 1 extra set of cards. So they just doubled up on his. And they did the same thing with the starting cards, which are just the 00 agents. So one will provide 1 recruit, one will provide 1 attack, and these start your basic hands. Your basic hand of cards that you're going to get. So you actually start with 12 cards in the game. So you have 8 of these, and then 9, 10, 11, 12. You have your 12 cards there. But we're also going to get some standard issue cards. So we're going to get the standard issued special starter cards. You're going to get these. Now, they do have the years listed on here, which is really nice. It kind of separates which set they go with. So we have this one just starts. You get to draw a card and has 2 attacks. Now I like these. They're kind of fun to get some extra cards in here. The special upgrades to 1 attack, but draws your card. You may move a card on assignment to any space. If there's already a card there, swap them. That's very helpful, so you can kind of rearrange. Maybe you want to, oh, this card's going to escape. Let me put them first, type of thing. Shaken, not stirred. He's Martini, of course. Has 1 recruit, draw a card. Choose a player. They may KO a wound in their hand or discard pile. So a lot of these are letting you draw a card, which I said earlier, I like to put the card in for the Marvel sets. And that's usually the card I put in there. Something that let me draw a card anyhow. Because it's always just like, it gets you through your discard pile a little bit quicker. Because if you have 12 cards to start with, and you draw 6 on your first turn, 6 on your next turn, you literally have to go to turn 3 before you get anything from your discard pile. If all of a sudden now you have 1 card that lets you draw it, there's a chance that second turn, you might draw, you're already going to be drawing from your discard pile. You might draw one of them new cards. We have M16. These are like headquarters for, sorry, it's M16. It's MI6 if I learn how to actually denote my capital I from a letter. So this is the headquarters of the Bonds. So again, 1 recruit, and literally the top card of your deck. If it costs 0, you may discard it. Draw a card. So this lets you get rid of your starters. It's just kind of neat, right? Oh, I don't need a starter. Get rid of it. Things your deck out, gets you to your other cards quicker. And then finally, we have Bond. James Bond. 1 attack, draw a card. The next time you play a James Bond hero card this turn, draw a card. So that's really fun as well. Alright, then the last card I want to show off that ties in with this is we have 3 copies of Miss Moneypenny. So all the Miss Moneypennies from all 4 movies just get shuffled into the same deck. They're all 3 cost. They'll give you 2 stars. So basically the idea is at some point you can replace that with this. So now instead of having to play 2 of your basic 007 cards, you can play 1 Miss Moneypenny. You can KO those other 2 cards and get you to your deck a little bit quicker. That's kind of the idea. Or just get you more recruit right off the bat for fairly cheap, and it's always available. But each Bond or each movie has 3 copies of their own Moneypenny that fits with their set. I'd actually write down the names of these actresses. This is Lois Maxwell, just because they're the other characters that are prominently featured. So that's pretty fun there. Alright, then before we look at more characters, let's look at our villains. We have our Mastermind. And actually, judging by the length of this, I think we're gonna do one movie per video. There's gonna get a little bit long doing all of these together. So it's a starter set, so there's 4 of them. That's fine. Alright, so we're gonna do Arc Goldfinger. So he always leads the Goldfinger group. Setup, shuffle 6 smuggled extra card gold, blah blah blah. Shuffle 6 smuggled gold extra cards into the hero deck. When each one enters a Q branch, attach it to Goldfinger. So they're gonna kind of pop out as Master Strike. Starting with you and continuing clockwise. Each player discards the highest cost card in hand till 1 has been discarded for each Master Strike played this game. If there's a tie for the highest cost card, select 1 randomly. Alright, so that's gonna be kind of annoying there. We're gonna look at his extra card here really quick, just because we want to look at it. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11 copies. So we have 11 copies of these. So they're gonna come up fairly quickly, but he has, if this card is attached to a card on assignment, that card has Chase. And then if it's attached to a Mastermind, that Mastermind gets +1 attack. Yeah, so that's not something we really want to get too much. It says, yeah, when it enters a Q branch, attach it to Goldfinger. So yeah, you're going to attach it to him. What does the Chase keyword do? I'm going to look up that really quick. I basically know what it does, but I want to read the exact phrasing of it. So chases. This keyword represents many cars, boats, and other vehicles Bond has chased or been chased by. Each turn after you're done playing a card from the villain deck, but before you start playing heroes, villains or missions with Chase automatically move 1 space, pushing the other cards as normal. This can happen whether the card with Chase is pushed by another card this turn or not, and will move this way on the first turn entered on assignment. If more than 1 card has Chase resolved, each starting from the left to the right. It should look like they're all moving simultaneously. Then we might get high-speed Chase, which moves them 2 spaces. So basically, if this gets attached to an on-assignment thing, it's going to move them an extra space forward. So this is it's a fun but frustrating mechanic or keyword, because it can, all of a sudden you might be like, oh, we're doing pretty well. We have open spaces, or we got rid of everything, we're fine, we can survive 1 turn, and all of a sudden a Chase comes and pushes a guy out of the way and pushes him off the board, and just causes bad stuff. Now I don't know how it gets attached to an which is, if this is attached to an on assignment card, my assumption is because there might be something that mixes us in if you're not playing as Goldfinger. So, alright, we're going to look at his tactics quick. So every time you beat him, he has the Midas Touch. Fight. KO your highest cost hero in your hand, or play or in the discard pile. Ooh, that's nasty. Fort Knox Heist. Fight. The next time a Mastermind is fought, it must be fought with recruit instead of attacks. This could be a good or a bad thing depending on how you're set up. Mr. Solo's Pressing Engagement. Oh, the Car Crusher. Fight. If you draw 2 or fewer cards at the end of your turn. And then finally we have Smuggling is an Art. Fight. Put each hero in the Q branch on the bottom of the hero deck, and then draw all new ones. That's not very always fun. Alright. Then we have our villains. So we have deck A here. We're going to start with, we're just going to go in order. We have Odd Job, who has ambush. Each player gains a wound and he takes 4 to defeat. We have Bonica. Bonica can't be fought in there. Well, there's a card next to her on assignment. Ooh, so that's tricky. She's very easy to beat with 2, but you can't have anything next to her. So you have to defeat the card before or after. So obviously the best thing to do would, when she first comes into play, would be defeat the card in front of her, or hopefully she comes out right away. In deck B, we have, so just increasingly getting harder, we have another Odd Job. When Odd Job moves, the active player gains a wound. That's never good. And Melee. Ambush. Count the number of open on assignment spaces the player play that many cards from the villain deck. She's just gonna fill your board up. Great. And also in deck B, we have Pursuing Cards. Well, it's not pursuing much because it's on fire, but that is Chase, so its dropson's going to push everything. We just saw that. In deck C, we have Odd Job. Persist. At the end of each turn, the active player gains a wound. What does Persist do? It's a brand new. Some of these are the same as the Marvel games. Some are brand new, but I'm going to read them just because they might be different. On this, if this card would be pushed off, the on assignment instead stays where it is, and the card pushing it will escape instead. So he gets to the end, he'll always sit there until you beat him, and at the end of each turn, he's going to keep giving you wounds. So it's kind of a pain. We have Mr. Ling. Mr. Ling has the attack equal to the plus attack equal to the danger level. So could be a 4. Could be, what's the danger level? Go up to 7. Ooh, that could be bad. And then we have our last villain in the group. We have Dropped Derby. There's a fight. Gain this card to the top of your deck. It's just as kind of neat. It costs 5. If you beat it, now you get this card into your deck. So now when you play it, it has 2 attack and you draw a card. It's not the best thing to get late in the game, but it's fun that they added that in there as well. Alright, then we have our missions, which will also get shuffled in for deck A. We have the Setup Explosives. This is Operation Grand Slam. Succeed, you get plus 3 attack. Change His Luck. Card has this has -2 recruit for each range hero you play this turn. So I could potentially make it free if you play enough of them. In deck B, we have Defeat Goldfinger at Golf. Only recruit from cards that cost 0 can be used from this mission. It only costs 3, but you can only use your starter deck or a Mrs. Moneypenny. So it's interesting. Then we have Use the Transmitting Device. This can't be completed unless the Mastermind has been defeated at least once. You see some of these cost like 2 and 3, so if they get off the board, getting up to that high level could happen very easily. Also in deck B, we have Spy and Urk Enterprises. This has -2 recruit for each covert hero you have played this turn. So again, 8 could get down if you played 4 covert, but that's going to be very difficult. In deck C, we have No, Mr. Bond, I expect you to die. Very famous quote. 7 attack. Ooh. At the end of the turn, KO the hero in the Q branch space beneath this card. Then KO all copies of that hero everywhere in Q branch. The hero deck amongst all cards the players own, then shuffle the hero deck in each player's cards. Wow. That is a nasty card. So yeah, when that hits, you need to defeat that the turn it is out. Otherwise, it's going to start killing. Because if it's all of a sudden, like, yeah, if I have, just as an example, right? If I have, like, Talented Ally Pussy Galore below this, and it destroys that card, you have to remove all instances of that from the game. And then the thing is, so then it gets something else gets replaced. Now, it's going to probably move every turn. So it's going to keep moving through the thing, but if you ever get to the point where, like, it gets to, like, the middle spot, and you keep defeating things before it, it's going to keep just destroying what's in the middle, and it's going to replace a new card. Ooh, so that's a bad card. I love it though. I love them things that are kind of neat like that. Escape the cell. Ambush. Put the highest cost hero in the Q branch under this as a prisoner. This mission has attack equal to the prisoner's cost. Success, gain the prisoner. That's fun. And then we have Disarm the Bomb. This has -2. Recruit for each tech hero you played this turn. It has a 10. Also very interesting to note with this set, the vehicle has a bunch of tech cards and some in the equipment, but none of the other heroes do. So you have to have the tech or the equipment or vehicle cards to be able to even reduce this. Otherwise, 10 is going to be very hard to hit. Then the last card we have for the missions is the Inevitable. Escape in Time. Success. Instead of defeating this, move it to the right space. Right one space, and it gets a permanent +2 recruit. Use wounds to track this. Failure, evil wins. So basically, you can just stave off defeating this every turn by keep recruiting it, essentially. But it's just going to get harder and harder. It's going to be 2, then 4, then 6, then 8. And every card is always going to try and move one more space. You basically can keep moving it back one. But basically, you're fighting against this leaving the board versus you trying to defeat the mastermind quickly. So once this pops up, you're probably no longer recruiting heroes anymore. You're going to try and defeat this. Now, granted, you could possibly defeat it 2 or 3 times in a turn. Like, just let it move to the end of the board and then defeat it like 4, and then defeat it 6, then defeat it 8, you know. It's very possible as well. Alright. Then we have on top of that, we have our 10. We've seen these guys already, but we have our 10 Fort Knox assault team, the henchmen. So they have 4 cost. Fight, you get +1. So it is interesting here. I didn't actually look at this correctly. So we have deck A versions, which is just kind of neat, right? So we have 3 copies that go in deck A, which have a 3 cost. We have 4 of them that go in deck B, which have a 4 cost, and we have 3 that go in deck C as a 5 cost. So this is, again, a very big departure from the Marvel, because normally they're all the exact same. Here, the henchmen actually get increasingly difficult, which I find is actually kind of neat and interesting. Because again, later in the game, although it would have been sometimes nice to all of a sudden pop up and have a level 3 card, oh, I can defeat that guy easily. This actually keeps you a little bit interesting and making them a little bit more difficult as well. But I think the effects are always going to stay the same. Alright, the last 2 cards we have for Goldfinger are Operation Grand Slam, which is a scheme. Now, again, these schemes can be used with any different story or mode. You can mix and match stuff. Like any of the other cards, I can use any of the Goldfinger heroes and mix with any of the other movies. I can mix different villain groups, all that stuff. But these are the ones that kind of theme with the movie. So it always uses Operation Grand Slam mission. Set up 5 scheme twist. Attach a twist to the leftmost Q branch space that doesn't have one. That space is irradiated. It costs +1 to recruit a card there. Evil wins at danger level 5. So you only need to get up to 5 danger to be able to beat this. And again, some of these cards have like 2s and 3s, so it doesn't probably take very many to do that. Plus making all your cards cost more. And eventually it'll go to all 5. So even if this gets to all 5 in the Q branch, like all 5 schemes hit, you won't technically have lost the game. But again, the way this is also built up is there are 1 in deck A, then 2 in deck B, and 2 in deck C. So by the time you get to deck C, if you've drawn all of it, you only probably have like 2 or 3 maybe turns left before the inevitable card's going to pop up, and then you're fighting against that anyhow. Alright, then the other one is Orchestrate a Smuggling Ring. Set up as 5 Steam Twists. Now again, this game always has 5 Steam Twists, but you're always going to list it just because that's the format of the Legendary. Twist, attach Smuggling Gold extra card to the rightmost villain or mission on assignments. This is how those get attached outside of, if you're not playing as Auric Goldfinger, because always attached to him. If on assignment, is empty. Set the smuggled villain aside and attack the next villain that enters on assignment. If a smuggled gold is carried away, attach it to the mastermind. So that escapes. Evil wins at danger 7. The only thing that's weird is if you play this with Goldfinger. Oh yeah, because here it says only shuffle 6. Yeah, so that's, where's the... So just as a reminder of what this does. So yeah, once attached to an on-assignment card that has chase, it automatically moves it forward. Yeah, so it's kind of a neat little extra mission. So basically it's going to add that whole thing where it's going to constantly keep pushing it. The beauty with Goldfinger is we said he had 6. And I think there was 11 of those. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 12. 12 of them. So yeah, he'll have 6, and then there will be 6 still out there W's. No, there's 11, so there's 5. So there's enough to have 1 for each team, plus that. So it's kind of neat that they actually made it so it works great, so you could have it, both of these together and have him do it. Or again, you can use this with anything else. Alright, so that's what we have for this this video for Legendary. I was going to do the 2, but this is actually taking quite a long time to go through all of these. And since I have 4 to go through, I don't want to have too many long videos. So we'll just break them up into 4 parts. Do 1 for each. Since we're doing the heroes and the villains. Because typically I just do all the heroes in one video and do all the villains in a second one. We're just going to break it up a little bit differently for this since they're by movie. So I hope you guys enjoyed. Come back, check out the other 3 videos. Hit me up in the comments. Let me know you like my channels, like my videos. If you're enjoying these, I'll try and definitely pick up the other expansions. We can see the other 4 movies. And then hopefully they'll keep releasing some more. See you guys later. Bye.